All right, we are back for the Houston Open. Matt Gannon. Jers is with me as always. Jers, I texted you yesterday. You said, what time are we doing the pod? I said, I think I'm out on doing the pod this week. The thought of talking about Peter Malnati winning a tournament, a 3-1 Scottie, 2-1 Scottie at the Houston Open. I was a little down, but I woke up this morning, as always, started writing the course preview, and I've got takes. I'm fired up. I'm ready to go now. How are you doing?
Yeah, I mean, week in, week out, it's either great or extremely deflating being a full-time golf bettor like we are. And I was feeling it too. I was a little bit deflated after the Valspar. Both had guys in the mix, and we saw how it ended. And then we wake up to the odds. It's like, oh, Scottie Scheffler is going to be a massive favorite. What's going to happen here? Is he's going to run away with it? But yeah, you work through it and you find your way to stand up and talk golf. And I'm happy to be here.
And at the end of the day, we've started to build a little bit of a loyal following, people who like the pod. So shout out to you. Obviously, we want to have some content for you on a Monday, Tuesday. And as I've had to say now, or get to say since we're in the pod game, like and subscribe. We really appreciate that. It's been super helpful to get the pod out there in front of more people. And we appreciate people who are tuning in on a week like this because Jersey's the Valspar. We knew it wasn't the strongest field. I guess it was one of the stronger fields. I think you were talking up the strength of the field. We end up getting a Peter Malnati victory at the Valspar. You famously, maybe last year, describe the tweet that you do when Peter Malnati is in the mix, because it happens so rarely. This tweet doesn't show up often, but you do have a great Peter Malnati tweet that usually.
I honestly think you said that, and I just tweeted it. Like maybe stolen valor, but it's the tweet that it's very simple to the Minwoo flow chart. Is it a good golf tournament? Yes, no. Is Peter Malnati in the mix? If he is, bad golf tournament. If he is not, good golf tournament. And sadly for the Valspar, bad golf tournament. Peter Malnati in the mix. Peter Malnati wins the golf tournament. But I honestly think you may have said that, and I don't know why I tweeted it, but it could have been your take. Could be wrong. I don't know.
And I will do a small Vic lap because winners are few and far between this year on the PGA Tour. Each week on Vincerix.com, we write, like we said, we write up a lot of golfers. And on Tuesdays, when I'm writing up the picks, I'll kind of go through guys that caught my eye who didn't end up making the card for whatever reason. I think I said form versus course history for Malnati, because his course history at the Valspar was terrible, but he was playing pretty good. I said take the form with Malnati. Now that didn't make me any money. Maybe a subscriber maybe had him in their DFS lineup. I hope somebody out there was able to use that bullet point for success. But the bucket hat, the yellow ball, we saw it in the flesh at the Players Championship in the practice
playing
round.
with Willie Z. Yeah.
Playing with Willie Z out there early on a Wednesday morning. And then I saw him playing with Bo Hostler, I think, and I can't remember who the third member, it might have been Sam Ryder, in their group on Thursday, coming off the second green at the Players. Bo goes long off the second green there, kind of off the back. He's got to putt it up. He gets it up and down. Walking off the back of the green, I mean, it was literally me, and then there was no one else following this group. Malnati goes, Bo, unbelievable up and down. Great job, man. And I was like, it was funny because I'd never thought of anything but like, oh man, what a nerd Malnati is. And then I was like, people talk very highly of him. He's on like the board of directors. And I was like, damn, that was incredibly like supportive and nice thing to do during the tournament. So that's what I thought of as Malnati got into the mix this week, was that moment last week.
100%. And like you saw him get that whatever questionable drop. That's a whole different podcast. He was so like thankful and like, this is a great break. I might have to make sure I'm doing this right to the rules official. And like, we never hear a golfer like show emotion in a setting like that. And it was unbelievable. And like all day on the coverage, and even like Friday, Saturday, Sunday, when he was around the mix, he would have a shot here and there. And I'd always pick up the mic because this man plays out of the pine straw more often than he should. And he was like, every time, like, thank you to someone spotting his ball or something. I appreciate that. Thank you. And like, no one is like Peter Malnati, truthfully. And that's not a hot take. He's just a very different guy. I don't have the best feelings about him. Like, he's just a rando, but good guy, Pete. I'm happy for him. It is what it is. And like, if there's anyone to win at random, I'm kind of happy it's Peter Malnati because he's just great content. And
I think too, it's like, this was a perfect example of something that we've talked about a reasonable amount this year as we try to unpack like that long shots win every week, except the last when Scottie plays. And this was a perfect example of the winners this year. And honestly, probably not just this year, but historically, like the people who win the tournament, it's strokes gained consistency. It doesn't mean you're going to win the tournament. And we saw that with a bunch of guys, and we'll talk about them in a second. what Malnati was able to do was on the 1 week in 5 years when he had a great week, he got into the mix. And then on the back nine, when it was showtime, it was time to go out there and win. He hit every shot that he needed to do or he needed to do. And like strokes gained guts, strokes gained like hitting shots that matters. Malnati was clutch under the gun.
Like, can we name on one hand the amount of players who we would trust to hit that long iron into 17 like he did this season? I don't think we can. Maybe Scottie. Scottie and who else? Wyndy maybe? That 5-iron or whatever club he hit, high draw, posed on it to 6 feet on one of the hardest holes, like one of the harder par threes on tour to win the golf tournament. And the drive on 16, the bullet cut on the hardest hole of the day, the hardest hole of the week, the snake pit. Peter Malnati is stepping up there, posing on the tee, like hitting on a mat. Mind blown.
And then, I mean, like on 18 too, like obviously, I assume he knew by the time he got to 18T that he had a 2-shot lead. So that takes off a little bit of the pressure. But still, you have a generational driver, one of the best drivers on the PGA Tour, and Cam Young snap one off the planet on 18. And then Malnati, yeah, he didn't hit the fairway, but that left bunker was a totally fine spot to be. I think any player in the mix off the final tee would have wanted to play from that bunker. It was totally fine. He puts it there. He gets the job done. My question for you, I was thinking about this before, is in the 1 in a million chance that Peter Malnati rides the wave of this to a strong performance at Augusta, does the Malnati flowchart apply? Would the Masters at that point be a bad golf tournament if, let's say, Malnati's top 10 at any point in the proceedings?
What a question. That might be question of the year candidate. I mean, the flowcharts are strong, and the flowcharts always remain true. Like, even with Minwoo this week, I bet him, and I went against the flowchart, and you said it right when I put in the bet in the chat. I'm sorry about that Minwoo money. I feel like you just got to go with the flowchart. If Pete Malnati cracks the top 10, even if he's like the first group off and birdies won, bad tournament. So we'll have to see in a few weeks.
Yeah, keep your eyes peeled there. I think I saw he opened like 700 to 1. He might be longer odds than
I saw 1,500.
Yeah, he might be longer odds than some of the like past champions, who like Freddie Couples. That's disrespect to Malnati. Like in a course where you can hit it wherever you want off the tee for the most part, get it up and down. I think Malnati could surprise at Augusta, but that's a story for another day. The guy who we've got a few guys we need to talk about before getting on to Houston. We won't do a long pod today because, again, if you're listening to this, you're a diehard. But we want to have something for you, but it's there's not a ton to talk about. But Cam Young, you go first because you know where I'm going to be having takes, but he's somewhat your guy. What the hell?
I mean, after watching Sunday, and you probably saw my tweet early in the week when I was at the practice rounds, I saw Cam Young struggling in the practice rounds, and I watched Cam Young enough times to like see when he's distraught, and he was going on like 6 weeks of solid golf. Maybe he's a little bit tired. I was like, this guy needs to take a week off. He took 2 balls off the tee, horrible swing, 2 balls in the fairway, 1 horrible swing. And I was like, nah, Cam Young, I'm not betting him. And I truthfully was going to bet him because I always bet Cam Young. And Sunday, I was like, this is the week. He was making those 6-footers, made a few par saves from the fringe. I was like, now Cam Young is going to win on a golf course that I liked him on. But then I saw him hit bad shots in the practice round. And then we just waited, and Cam Young appeared. Duck hook off 17. And what caps it off even more, I mean, fine recovery shot, whatever. The 3-putt on 18, leaving it 9 feet short, was hilarious. Because even if you make par there, there's plenty of I bet 5 out of 10 times Pete Malnati probably makes a bogey in that spot. Even if you make par there, like Cam Young could still be in the golf tournament. The 3-putt was so funny. Like, I was dying.
I think it brought to life very vividly a take also that we've been talking about on this pod. I think you go against this take sometimes, but I've tried to like stay strong to it, is if we're betting guys in the 20s or whatever Cam Young was last week, and they go to the final round or the final tee tied for the lead. I mean, I didn't trust him. I didn't have him, or I didn't like care if Cam Young won or not. Like at that point I was rooting for Malnati after Hughes had like dipped out, but I don't think Cam Young bettors were confident that he was going to win in that situation. So it's like, why bet a guy when you could bet 5 guys at 100 to 1 for the same price when, at least in my opinion, maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think people trusted him down the stretch to win that tournament.
Yeah, and the only reason I thought he was going to win is because like it would make sense for me to be off of him for the first time in forever. But at the end of the day, like it was just a matter of time because he was hitting the good shots. He was doing everything he should because when he's under no pressure, he's And like we see him all the time in practice rounds, like he looks like an elite golfer, and the golf course made perfect sense. And yeah, I mean, I still believe it is a matter of time before he breaks through because like he's too good, and we've seen it. We see it a lot. We see a lot of guys struggle, but I think this week puts him on a different level, truthfully, because it's now 7 runner-ups. It's the most since a name in the 80s that he's got the most runner-ups without a win. So definitely puts him on a different level. We talk about like the Russell Henleys of the world, the Will Zalatoris of the world, the runner-ups, but this is a different level.
Yeah, and I mean, he basically gained 2 strokes in every category and then 4 plus off, maybe 5 off the tee. Like, it's a recipe for winning golf tournaments. You do that consistently enough, you're going to break through. But for me, it just solidified my take on Cam Young, that he is unbettable in the 20s. I bet him at the Players. He was like 70, 80. Obviously, didn't play good, didn't mix at all. But I think for me, that's when I want to bet Cam Young. And if for some reason in one of these majors coming up and his odds elevate, that's when I'd be looking at him because I do think there's more consistency across the bag right now than maybe there has been from him previously. Quickly going down, Mac Hughes was trying to give me a luck box victory. And the thing was, I would never complain about a luck box victory. We'll take anything we can get at this point. So he was pouring in 50 footers and people were like, oh, luck box. I think even you said it. I was like,
that's Mac Hughes.
Yeah, it's like, I'll take it. But unfortunately, the terrible approach play came to cost him on 12 and 13. He battled back a little bit towards the end, but at least Mac Hughes gave me a sweat. I will say, when Mac Hughes went to the back 9, or I think the 9th hole, he was 2 shots ahead of Malnati. And then by like the 12th hole, he walked off, or the 13th hole, he walked off 2 behind Malnati. That was a dark moment for me personally, because I was also getting crushed on the hardwood in March Madness. And for all of that to be happening simultaneously was a low point for me this
What
year.
odds did you bet Mac at? It was 80?
I think he was in the 100. It was like 100 to 1 or something like that.
Yeah, like you bet Mac Hughes knowing it's luck box. Like that's not a hot take. But you're not going to bet him at 45 to 1, 50 to 1. Like that's 100 to 1 golfer on a guy who sparks every few months and a course fit that required scrambling. You don't think Mac Hughes is going to put everything to 10 feet. He's going to make those 50 footers, and it happens like a few times a year. So great bet, great call on you. Obviously, he just folded with a few holes to go, but he was definitely in the mix, looking confident. He never was like ball striking the hell out of it. Never looked amazing. He was just finding himself in Mac Hughes' position, scrambling tremendously, and it just came to end too quickly.
Yeah, and I think I was happy about it because like I've been trying at least the last few weeks to stick to, if I don't like guys in like the 20, 30 range, don't just bet one of them because I have to like feel like I've got to bet one of them. If I have to bet 10 fucking guys at 100 to 1, that's what I'll do. And Hughes is the example of a guy who I would have never bet. I think he was one of the last guys that I decided to bet. So I'm happy with that strategy. I'm going to try to stick to it. And it was nice to get somebody in the mix because of it. The guy we have to talk about, though, is Xander Schauffele. For me, I think his final round was one of the darkest moments of his career. If I'm being honest about it, I think it was one of those, we had do this take all the time. It was a bad thing for his career, that final round. Like
so good.
It was a pick. Why how does it happen? I mean, like the man,
you can't script it any better.
You
cannot. Like truthfully, I wasn't watching the early coverage. I got back before Keith teed off. I was like, oh, Xander Schauffele's 2 off lead with one of the rounds of the week. Like after being in negative contention all week, Xander did what Xander does. And I tweeted something about it. You could not script a better Xander Schauffele final round. It was as perfect of a Xander Schauffele performance as you get in his entire career. And I just we cannot fathom it. If you ask Xander, I don't even know what he would say because I don't get it.
And that's what I wish. Like, people wouldn't ask this question, I think, because they're afraid of like upsetting the golfers, which to me is dumb because in most sports you get tough questions and you just suck it up and answer them. Like, yeah, ask Xander, what the hell? Why is this happening? You know it's happening. We all know it's happening. This isn't a surprise. This, like, what goes on in your mind that makes this happen and what are you doing to fix it? Because I'd love to hear that. But yeah, I mean, it's just, there's really nothing to say. What's going to happen? It's going to be so typical. The next time he's close to let's say at the Masters, Xander's playing well because he should play well at the Masters. He's going to be up there. He goes into the final round. Here's what's going to happen. He's going to be 1 shot back. He may even be leading the tournament next time. And here come the tweets. They're going to say, no, Xander's final round scoring. Have you looked at Xander's final round scoring? He's good final round scoring. Cool. I don't care because he just shot 6 under at Valspar. That's going to make his final round scoring look good. He's great in the final round when he has nothing to play for. Like, I don't care. This man cannot win golf tournaments. I'm tired of it. It frustrates me. It makes me angry because I like Xander. He's such a good golfer, but I was genuinely upset watching him yesterday. And then it was also typical because he got on that heater and it was like, oh, could he post 9? Could he post 10? Like there was a belief that like he could do it. And he misses some putts. They go low. They don't look good. And even he even started, once he got to that, like sniffing the lead, it kind of stopped.
Once he started getting on TV and it was like, oh, Xander's here. And he knows he's close to the lead because it was 10 to start the day. He's like, here we go. Xander's in contention. It's over. But yeah, that was all-time Xander performance. Yeah, horrible for his career hierarchy. So yeah, I don't know what to say about Xander.
Bez did not win. Bez cannot win. Fine performance from Bez T9, and that totally makes sense for him. Let's talk Keith Mitchell briefly because you were on him. I said before the week, when you bet Keith Mitchell, it draws my attention. I think you have a good read on when Keith will be bringing things to the table. It was looking so good. You were tweeting about the ball striking. It was a generational ball striking performance for 3 rounds. He holds it on 18 to take the lead going into the final round. I don't think I've ever seen that happen before. That was pretty sick. And then we get Bo Hostler off the first tee there. We get the left miss and play. Probably should have been out of bounds on almost any golf course. I assume you were pretty nervous once you saw that first tee shot.
Oh yeah, it was over from the start with Keith. But like I said, like you said, you like when I'm on Keith, he was the first guy I bet all week from being there in the practice rounds. The thing that drew my mind was you need to be long and straight off the tee. You need to be playing out of the fairway, and being long is great, which is why I like Cam Young. But then I saw him hit poor shots, so I was like, okay, Keith Mitchell looks great and he's playing good golf. Keith Mitchell's the first bet I'm making. It worked for 3 rounds, and obviously 18 was lucky, but he was hitting the ball so well. And then the nerves got to him immediately and never recovered. But I almost would rather a loss like that because this hurt less than Xander hit her the week before. 2 straight 54-hole leaders, but this is why we're hitting a live winner this week. 2 straight 54-hole leaders, and just comes down and quicker than ever, it is what it is. Like, he was never going to win. After that drive on number 1, he didn't fix it because the whole front 9 was all hooks. It was just horrendous. But yeah, Keith, I kind of like him this week. But yeah, very bad, very pathetic.
And then my random long shot of the week was Seamus Power. He was in the mix there I didn't end up betting him, but it was nice to have the random long shot of the week mixed around. Keep your eyes on Seamus. I think he's on his way back. His short game, he had a chip. I think it was on like the 2nd or 3rd hole, or it might have been the first hole. He went like long left of the green and hit his chip like 25% of the way there. That was a tough scene. We saw Cam Champ threw his hat into the ring. Long time no see from Cam Champ. There was a moment there I was like, Cam Champ winning would both make the least sense and the most sense of anything that's happened this year. There was one other guy that I wanted to mention. Oh, Chandy Phils, a new nickname, a new player. We got to keep our eyes on. Chandler Phillips. I wrote him up before the tournament because his stats were looking good. He shaved the mustache, went with a more normal look, but Chandy Phils, each year it seems like at the Valspar, we get one of these solid ball strikers who comes up from the Corn Ferry. Davis Riley, obviously Taylor Moore came through last year. Nice little player. I think we got to keep our eyes on Chandy Phils going forward.
Yeah, did you see his interview yesterday? And after he was playing really good, I tweeted that he hit a lady and she was bleeding, and he said that like the EMS had to come on his, like, he went wide right on the par 3 8th, and then he was like, watch his interview after this. He was clearly like distraught and like not all the way there, and he's like, I can't lie, man, like that really like messed up my round. I mean, no excuses, but he was never going to win anyway. So it was just a great showing from him. Yeah, you had eyes on him before I did. So that's like a great nugget because he clearly showed good signs to be a great ball striker to potentially contend in the future. But yeah, I just thought it was crazy how like he's hit off a lady's like head or something, and then it hit another guy in the neck. I don't know how he like dual wield someone, but it was crazy. But watch his interview if you can.
Yeah, I think I saw your tweet. I was doing stuff yesterday, but we've said you got to be alert at the golf tournament. Something bad is going to happen.
Oh yeah, tag him in that.
I'm genuinely afraid of it. So if you go to golf tournaments, please just. But if you're listening to this, you're the type of person who there's no chance the people who aren't paying attention to golf tournaments are listening to the Valspar recap and Houston Open pod. So there's probably no point in talking about it. But spread the word. Stay safe out there. Quickly, guys who missed the cut. Spieth. I was busy watching basketball pretty much all weekend.
He's fine.
On Thursday, it was looking good. Terrible, off the planet, loser. Finau, What did Finau shoot? I mean, he wasn't even close to winning. Minwoo flowchart. We've got to stick to the
Obvious.
flowchart. It can't.
My
That's
fault.
not going to work. Who else is down here in missed cut land? Ryan Fox did not. I said he was going to win the Valspar all year. He did not come close. Vic Perez, random Euros of the week. You don't chase the chalk random Euro of the week. I think
Everyone knows it.
Like that's just a no-brainer. Taylor Montgomery, I bet him for the first time. We'll never be doing
You
that
did?
again. Yeah, horrible performance. And then Sam Burns, 12-1. Sam Burns missing the cut, losing infinity strokes off the tee. I hate to see that for my guy.
Yeah, that was a tough look for Sam Burns. But I was watching his interviews pre-tournament, and they were like, "What is it about this golf course? Why do you always play well here?" And he was like, "It's nothing really. Like it's not, I don't even love the course. I just always play well here." And they were like, "Is you playing well like transition to this week?" And he's like, "No, just another week on the PGA Tour." So I was like, something doesn't seem right with Sam B. And clearly he was playing so great in 2024, and then misses the cut at the course he plays tremendously. That's just a microcosm of golf in 2024.
Yeah, it's so often they ask guys like, "Why do you play good at this course?" And they're like, "I don't know, man, just vibes." It's like, dude, it's kind of annoying. I'll be honest.
It is kind of annoying.
like you are a professional athlete, and there's clearly like you're playing good at this course. You can't think of any reason why. And like there are times too when I'm looking at the stats, I'm like, I could probably tell you why you're playing good at this course.
Oh
like,
my God, it's so frustrating.
Maybe it's just the mindset you have to be a golfer because it's such a frustrating sport. But that shit always pisses me off, and it's funny when it comes up. But we're moving on. Let's get to the Houston Open. It's a course that we've now seen a few times. Give me your high level Houston. What are you looking for? What do you like?
Yeah, I think this course being moved to March is really going to change how it plays. I was really high on just total driving being both long and straight, similar to last week, but emphasized here in the years past. But I think that's going to be a little bit less this year because the rough is going to be a little bit more dormant, a little bit not as strong. So I think that's going to lead to a higher or a lower winning score. We see like anywhere from -9 to -13, I believe, for the last few years. But I think we could stretch closer to 15, which I guess widens the gap for more players to win if it's easier conditions, which I think is a good thing because Scottie Scheffler's 3-1. And if it was in a normal year, I think you couldn't. I mean, still, you can't have a better course fit for Scottie to have a three-peat. The tee to green based, weak field, like makes Texas. It makes a ton of sense for Scottie, but I think the season change is going to help the field in
Yeah, I mean, I've never seen this. I read the superintendent write-up each week on the PGA Tour.
Right.
And this week they said the overseed now will provide a much tighter playing surface than the Bermuda grass did in 2022. This will highlight the penal green surrounds, while shorter rough gives opportunity for aggressive approach shots to the green. To me, that sounds like Bomber Central. This course is already Bomber Central. Absolutely send it from the tee. And then I really think that, I mean, I will be honest, I don't consume that much content outside of what we're doing just because it takes so much time to do like what we do. I think we do a solid enough job at it that to me, this is a putting contest. I mean, the winners here have gained 6 on the greens, and then Kokrak and Finau gaining almost 9. Like, obviously, Finau historically not a great putter, but he was in great putting form coming into this tournament last year. To me, we've got a bomber putt it event, and then with the rough down, like, yeah, you can be spike approach. So it's like bomb it, spike your approach, spike your putting. Not too worried about around the greens because if you're missing too many greens, especially with the more penal around the green conditions, like you're probably not winning the tournament anyway. And then, yeah, off the tee, I just don't think it's a strokes gained off the tee course. I think it's send it from the tee. If you don't have accuracy, that's kind of cool, especially with this rough down.
Yeah, I mean, just you saying that makes me want to bet Keith Mitchell even more because, I mean, but what we saw on Sunday, I don't know if I can again, but yeah, I totally agree with everything you had to say. I think just bomb it out there, similar to what we've seen in Detroit, make a ton of putts.
And my hot take for the week, one of the reasons I wanted to pod, and this is a great take to give because if Scottie wins the tournament, then I can just go, well, yeah, it's Scottie, you know, he's supposed to win the tournament. Scottie's not winning the tournament. I don't think he, like, sure, every course is a great course fit for Scottie. He finishes top 10 every single course. It doesn't matter where you're playing. He finishes top 5 pretty much everywhere he plays. But when I see winners gaining 6 on the greens, 9 on the greens, 9 on the greens, Kevin Tway, when he finished second to Kokrak, gained infinity on the greens. This isn't the Players' Championship where we were really obviously high on Scottie because he could literally just gain tee to green, not have to make any putts and win. He's going to have to make putts here no matter how well he strikes it. And his driving will be diminished versus the field here because driving it long and straight, like was crucial at Bay Hill and Sawgrass, is not going to be as crucial here. So that's my hot take of the week. Scottie isn't winning, and I think that presents value on the sport. And honestly, that's why I'm kind of excited about this tournament. Are you like Scottie's winning
I'm
this
with you
week,
there.
or
No, I'm
what's your
with you
strategy?
there. Plus, like these greens are big, so guys can be making putts from a long distance, which is another narrative for him to not win. I do really believe that if this was in the regular spot in the calendar and it was the same situation we're seeing now, like Scottie, like not that I would bet him at 3-1, like, but he's winning. But yeah, now with I think the rough being shorter opens the gap for a bunch of players. You're gonna have to make a ton of putts. Still gonna have to hit your because it's a longer than a normal wedge fest, so you're still gonna have to. I don't want like just random 250 to 1 guys who will probably just win, but generally good wedge players, which we see at like Amex, stuff like that. I still think you have to hit your middle line long irons well here, but more putting is important than we're used to seeing here. And the gap is widened because of the rough being down.
Yeah, I agree. So obviously, I think Scottie, he's going to finish T2. He's going to finish T. Like he's obviously going to be right there. I just think this isn't a place where 275, like plus 275 Scottie. I would never bet somebody at plus 275 in golf ever, but I genuinely thought he had a better chance of winning the Players than he does this week. Like that's a take, but that's my stance. The next guy, before we get to the range of despair, Wyndy C is like 12 to 1. This is not a big dick tournament. This doesn't make sense. I mean, the course makes sense for Wyndy. Send it from the tee and make a bunch of putts. Like course fit, I'd argue he's probably even a better course fit than Scottie. Like it makes all the sense in the world for Wyndy, but I'm not convinced. I'm not interested at all at 12 to 1. Are you? And I would say that like I still think of Wyndy. You bet Wyndy in big dick events until we see otherwise.
Yeah, and this is where we finally, like we talked about last week, we finally got the increase on the Wyndham Clark pricing. I know the field has to go into it, but the last time he was sub 20 to 1, I believe was the Puerto Rico or the event that Matt Wallace won.
Is it Corrales, I think.
Corrales, yeah, Corrales. He was like 18 to 1 and he tried to backdoor like a T3. So yeah, I don't think I haven't been betting Wyndy. I'm definitely not going to chase it at in between 12 and 15 to 1. No chance. No, but the course fit does make sense for sure.
And this is only semi-related, but all the things that we just talked about with the setup of the course this year, I think whether it's intentional or not, I don't know. But like it is a really good Augusta prep because they've brought the rough down. It's more iron play focus, it's distance and iron play, and then make putts. Like I'll be interested to see for some of these guys just how they play in general, because I do think this is a good warm-up for the Masters. We saw when this tournament was just before the Masters when DJ won at Augusta, they played well here, Hideki as well. So in general, outside of just like who wins this tournament, let's say Scottie wins by 5. If Scottie dominates this tournament, then to me he's going to win the Masters easily. So if you like Scottie this week, just parlay him with the Masters because I think they kind of go hand in hand. But I'm interested to see how Wyndy plays because in general, this course fit makes a ton of sense for him. And as he gets warmed up for Augusta, I think it's cool that he's playing. I think any of the top players who are playing is a good sign about like where they are mentally. The players who are going to sit out and not play until the Masters after playing at Sawgrass, I don't like that. I don't like that.
I agree with you. Do not like it at all.
So we get into the range of despair here. And I call this the range of despair now because like no one ever wins a golf tournament between 20 and 30 to 1. But we all bet them every single week. It never works out. So range of despair, we've got Willie Z, a man that we've been hyping up for this tournament for quite some time. Tony Finau looking to go back-to-back. Tony Finau, this is great for me because I've had to wait a long time to defend my outright winner on Tony Finau at the Houston Open back in 2022. So he's here. That's also defending for me after hitting him here last time. And then home game for Teagues. He lives in Houston, I do believe. And then Jason Day, who's strokes gained Texas as well with his win at the Byron Nelson. In the range of despair, just rank them for me. Willie Z, Tony, Teagues, Jason Day, from least likely to most likely.
Yeah, it's tough because we were so high in Willie Z, but I think the amount of putts you're going to need to make is a little bit too much. I do not think we're going to see like minus 25 or whatever like that, but it's going to be more than normal. I want to say Willie Z. I'm not worried about the miscut at Sawgrass at all. Literally throw it out. Sawgrass is so volatile, but it's Willie Z, Teagues, Jason Day, and Tone. All right, I'm gonna go Will Z number 1. Jason Day number 2, strokes gained Texas, and he's just playing under the radar golf, can make a ton of putts. Thiegs, and then Tone. I just don't trust Tone at all. At all. Looked horrendous when I saw him on the practice rounds. And then Thiegs, chalk Thiegs out on. I do think the fact that the rough is down just helps him tremendously, because if the rough was up this week, he'd be so boned. And although he is driving it really well, but I don't think we can chase the Thigala driver, because I just think what we know from him the last 3 years, he's got those spikes weeks. I know it's consistent right now, but it's just due to come back to earth a little bit. But the conditions do help him. But I'll keep those rankings how they have him.
This is going to be a challenge for me this week, because I've been saying this year you bet Teagues at 70-1, and that's gone pretty well for me. When I've slung him in the 70s, he's gotten into the mix. He's played well. He's 22-1 this week, but everything that we've talked about to this point sounds like a Teagues golf course to the max. He's driving it much better, and he doesn't even need to be driving it much better. He's got great distance from the tee. He can hit it pretty much wherever he wants, and then find a way to get the ball up towards the green. And then on any greens right now, he's, of these top players that we've discussed so far, to me, it's Wyndy and Teagues is the clear best two putters amongst this group. And then you add in the home game, like he's going to have support in the area. He's going to have a ton of support. There's a large Indian community too, like Indian American community in Houston. I assume they'll be out there backing him. It's just every time at these, well actually, Fortinet, his odds weren't good.
I was just gonna say, is he going to win twice at 20-1? Like the only times he's
at
like
least
20-1,
he has won at 20-1. At least he has. Yeah. Like there's other guys who we bet in the 20s who never win. At least Teagues has won in the 20s.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. So this is, I think, the last time he was priced this high. It was the only other time he was priced this high. Could be mistaken, but it was a win in Napa just a few months ago. Had him, not a big deal. But I don't know. It's tough. There was no Scottie Scheffler in that field. There was no, like, he was the name in that field. What was Xander there? I don't remember, but he was one of the top names.
JT was there, and our boy Cam Davis.
Right. Okay. Cam Davis was a lock that week.
Yeah, he should have had it. But yeah, and the other thing about Teagues is, I've always had the take that you don't play Teagues after he played well. You wait a week and then you bet him again. He did go 2 straight good starts with a T6 at API, T9 at Players. And if we remember back to the Players podcast, we were saying Teagues is one of the best players on the PGA Tour now. Like, it'll be interesting to see. I got to really think about it because I'm super tempted. So for me, it's going to be Teagues as in that group, number 1. Zal, number 2. I agree with the putter thing. Now that I looked into the stats more, it's just like, I don't think he can.
I don't see him gaining 6+. Yeah.
Day could just black it on the greens, make a ton of putts and mix. I don't think he can win. I don't think the odds are good at all. And then, yeah, Tone. I will say for Tone, he did win this tournament off of a missed cut last time, and it was off of like a shitty field missed cut in Mayakoba. But
that's hilarious, actually.
He can't, like, he's finally been putting better, and then the ball striking goes off the cliff at Valspar. We can't be having that, so he'll be last in that group. For me, I wrote up that Siwoo winning at 33-1 would be the worst thing that's ever happened for the PGA Tour, and then I actually quickly adjusted that to say Alex Noren winning at 35-1 would be the worst thing that's ever happened to the PGA Tour. Do you agree with those takes?
I mean, Siwoo could not make more sense, in my opinion. I don't know if he has the putting upside, but he gained 8 ball striking here last year. He gained for the first time across the board last year at the Players since the Dallas when he almost won. He lives in Dallas. He's a Texas guy. Siwoo is the most Texas guy on tour. Everyone knows that. And yeah, I mean, he makes a ton of sense, but do I trust Siwoo to gain a ton of strokes putting? Do I want to bet Siwoo at 35-1? Like we said, we don't want to bet Siwoo at 50-1 at the Players, which obviously much different fields, but same idea. Like, you don't.
And you still got to beat Scottie. It's
not that we're chasing Siwoo. I mean, everyone has to be Scottie, but not that we're chasing Siwoo. But I don't want to bet him 35-1. He's like one of the first clicks I really wanted to make too, but I didn't yet. But I'm not all the way out. We still got time.
My thing is, I think this is a week where it's important. I'm saying this to myself more than anything. Like, there's going to be a ton of guys from a tee to green perspective who it's like they're locked for a top 20 this week. They're maybe even a lock for a top 10 just because like the way the course is set up. And Siwoo is an example of one, but it's like, I need you to make putts. Siwoo at 33-1. Siwoo never makes putts. That like. I can't do it. I literally can't do it. And if it hits, I would feel nothing.
I could see him shooting 64 in round 1 and then finishing the next round at the same exact number, like -7 or whatever, and this being -7. That's very Siwoo.
Hypothetical 3-ball here between some guys who I think are interesting. Stevie Yeggs, Jake Knapp. I'm just going to say there's a Mexico comp here. If you take Tony and want to know who hits their driver really far and actually putts pretty well and can spike with the irons, Jake Knapp. And then I'm not going to give you Bo Hostler because that's too easy. I'll give you
Too
Tom Hogue.
obvious.
I'll give you Hoagie because Hoagie's been playing really good. I assume he'll be popular this week. So Hoagie, Knapp, and Stevie Eggs.
I'm going to go with Stevie Eggs because for two reasons. I'm still out on chasing Jake Knapp numbers, and the consistency of Jaeger is fine. Back-to-back missed cuts, volatile golf courses, can live with it. And then look how Tom Hoagie hit his driver last week, or at the Players. Worst driving week of his career. I know there's water in play. I know that has a lot to do with it, but I just can't trust you. I mean, Tom Hoagie doesn't have the distance, and he's a generational wedge player. We're not going to get a ton of wedges out here. I'm out on Tom Hoagie, out on Jake Knapp. So by default, Stevie Eggs.
I might be in on Knapp just because
you love him.
So I do have to report, and I reported this before Mexico. Right, we don't have a ton of data yet because there's only been so many Houston Opens at Memorial Park. The leading crossover top 10, Torrey Pines. And last time we said that about both Yegs and Knapp was at Mexico. And if there's a Mexico comp here, and Knapp's sending it from the tee, and Knapp has gained putting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in a row. He's a good putter.
I'm betting Yegs.
I could be down for some Jake Knapp, so keep tuned for that for the subscribers. Be on the lookout in the Discord. Might be Jake Knapp season for me. Now, to be fair, I've not even come close to getting Jake Knapp right, so don't take that for anything. But I do think at 55-1. At least he won recently.
Yeah, at least he's won. I have a question for you to move on. I'm sure you're gonna bring him up, honestly, but he's in my head. What are Kurt's numbers? I mean, Kurt's odds.
Kurt's 55. We can't bet Kurt. I hate to report.
55? Okay.
Kurt is not going to make enough putts. Probably.
True. Okay, yeah. With the new, if this was the last year or 2022, I'd be so down. I mean, yeah, I feel like we got to stick to that narrative. You're right.
Kurt's been in the hundreds for months. Right. He's been in the hundreds, and now he's 55. Like, I can't do it. That's
we're not far off from him, like leading the field tee to green at Pebble and like finishing top 10 in Phoenix.
I think he can play good. I like.
You're a Kurt guy.
I'm a Kurt guy. I like Kurt. It's just I've been betting him a lot. The putter is just I can't trust the putter. I can't get there.
Okay.
But tee to green makes a ton of sense. Like DFS shit like that. If his ownership is reasonable, then sure, I'm on board from Kurt from that perspective. A guy who jumped out to me when I opened up the odds, I thought you wrote him up as well. Luke List 80-1. Why is Luke List 80-1?
Because I think he only plays well on the West Coast outside of Sandy. But I am down for Luke List. Bomb it off the tee. The putter has shown real life in 2024. But yeah, the number doesn't make any sense.
And that's the thing I was going to say with the putter. Like we've been talking about all these guys, Siwoo, for example, Kurt. Can these guys make putts? Obviously, that's the question about Luke List, but he is actually making more putts than all of those guys. So
and he can gain a lot on the greens. He could also lose 27 on the greens. But like he's 80-1.
Right, he's 80-1. He can win. He was just up there at Riv, which is I think Riv, like there's some comp there with just send it from the tee and then go from there. And in 2022, when Kokrak won, List dominated that tournament tee to green. He was far and away the best player tee to green. So there's things to like with Luke List this week at 80-1. It almost makes so little sense that it feels like almost a trap bet. Random Euro of the week. We got about 5 minutes here. We didn't necessarily get a random Euro of the week in the mix at Valspar, but I would say Seamus Power because he's been off the radar for so long. He technically qualifies. We did have a Euro in the final group, so another week where we get the Euro in the mix. The odds, we've got Dietrich. How do you feel about Dietrich?
I was going to say Dietrich. When you say driver putter, he's a liability with the irons, but if this is a driver putter golf course, Torrey Pines comp, give me Tommy Dietz. He can. We know he cannot win. But what are his odds? Are over 100?
100 plus, yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm down.
He played good last week at Valspar, which is not necessarily a course where I would expect Tommy Dietz to play good. T17. Sign me up on the random Euro of the week train for Dietz. Also bounce back for Vic Perez. If you liked Vic Perez last week at whatever he was, you better like him this week. Bomb it.
He dipped down again. Yeah.
Bomb it and then just black out with the putter. That's Vic Perez.
Aaron Rai has great course history here too, for whatever reason, and he does better in difficult conditions, but it should be easier this year, which makes me a little worried. But he's going to play out of the fairway. It's not going to be long.
What about a guy that I know you like, Matty Walls? Matty Walls, a rare gaining across the bag from Matty Walls. He's 13th in the model this week, 130 to 1.
Yeah, I was actually tracking him a lot last week because I had him first round leader and he was like a staple DFS guy for me. Played fine. Course might be a little long for him in my opinion, but no real hard no's or hard yeses. Probably won't get there though.
Want to know who the course is not going to be too long for? I've got two guys for you. Matty
Chris Goddard.
Schmid. Well, Goddard got off to an all right start for you there at a big number. I thought he might be mixing. Did not work out. But Matty Schmid and Vinny Norms. The course isn't going to be too long for those
Vinny
guys.
Norms. Yes.
Is it a bounce back spot for Vinny?
I don't even want to say bounce back because it's been pretty bad in 2024 for Vinny, but
it's been horrible.
He's won twice in his short career. I'm sure he's more than okay. And this is a spot where you could just absolutely launch it off the tee and hopefully get hot with the putter, which he definitely can do. Definitely down for Vinny Norms. And who was the other guy you said?
Your boy Matty
Schmid.
When he faded at Players.
Yeah, I mean, what has he found? Because he was the worst golfer on tour, and then he's like 3 straight made cuts, and he's playing decent golf. Down for Matty Schmid because I was so high on him in early 2024 when he was playing like an absolute dog, meaning horrible, and now he's playing great. So yeah, I like Matty Schmid always.
Matty Schmid, I would take over Vinny Norms with 8 hammers because I trust Matty Schmid to make putts. I don't trust Vinny Norms to even come close to making putts, and so Matty Schmid, he might be my random year of the week. One thing I was remembering, we should actually we'll end with this and then quickly do the long shot of the week. We forgot to talk about a guy at Valspar, and I'll just tee it up for you because I need your take on it. Justin Thomas, what the hell was that? He shot 80. He shot right.
I think he shot 78 or 79, but it might as well have been 80. I'm speechless. I don't know how you couldn't have a worse Saturday. You could not have a worse Saturday if you were Justin Thomas. What's happened the last few weeks? He's playing so well. He was quote unquote back. Where do you go from here? How do you have any confidence in yourself? Not even from an outsider perspective. How do you have any confidence in yourself? He was I'm not even talking about the loose drives. He missed so many putts. You saw the putting stats. I know you did. I don't have any words. Pathetic is an understatement.
Yeah, I was out on him last week. I said I didn't trust the putter. We can't trust the putter. You cannot trust Justin Thomas's putter. Burn it into your brains, everybody out there. The man sucks at putting. He's a horrible putter. Great player, but until he putts, shows any signs of life with the putter, it's a hard no for me every single week. For him, let's end here. I've sorted the list by guys who hit it the furthest off the tee.
Where's Cam Davis in there?
We'll get just a second. The first Cam, though, Cam Champ he's hot with the putter. Cam Champ in 2 of his last 3 starts has gained over 4 on the greens. Cam Champ can win when he gets into the mix, and Cam Champ is 150 to 1.
Out. I can't get behind chasing Cam Champ after 1 good week of showing signs.
He knows he needs to qualify for the Masters though. Augusta, that's probably
he's not in.
No, that's why he's playing so good.
Oh, because he's a lock for T8 at Augusta.
He's putting unbelievable. He's putting really good. I might bet Cam Champ. But
I'll Maggie too.
Fuck. So think about
where's Chandler Phillips? And is he in the field?
Chandy is in the field. He's 150 to 1. But I'll
number.
tee you up for a walk off with a guy who we talk about all the time, Cam Davis. You were just saying him. He's not hitting it as far this year. I think he's reined it back a little bit. He's not even top 20.
Really?
Right? He's not even. Let me add a little bit of time for him. Yeah, he's not sending it from the tee as much as he has been, but he's 80 to 1. He's just as likely to win at 80 to 1 as he is at 30 to 1, right?
Yeah, he was literally 30 to 1, I think, in Napa. In I guess a little bit better form, but he's shot Infinity at the Players. But before the Players, he was showing some good signs. We saw him in the practice round looking very not pleased. Hopefully he's had that 2 weeks off or 1 week off to rein it back in, because this is definitely a golf course I love Cam Davis on, and I love Cam Davis. I'll continue to say it in no form just to surprise anyone, because the talent, I believe, still is off the charts, and 80 to 1 can definitely get down with that.
Is Higo, do we know why he withdrew at the Players? Was it just his illness or something?
I think it was illness. I hope. Yeah, because this is definitely a spot where he can bomb it off the tee and make putts. So
Yeah.
what are his odds? 200.
His odds are 200. Yeah, that's a good bet. We've been high on Higo this year. If you're high on Higo, and then I don't think you liked him in your write up. He's probably going to play terrible, but Nicky Dunn. If you don't need to hit it straight, tricky Nick Dunn, I'll give him a look.
Where does he rank in driving distance?
Luckiest
win of, I think his win at the Amex was the luckiest win of the century. Truthfully,
Dunlap is 26th in driving distance, and I would say my cutoff here is like top 40. Like you need to be about top 40 to catch my eye this week.
Yeah, I think he's. Yeah, I mean, I'm not high on Nick Dunlap, even though he's won already. I'm gonna say no.
And if you don't need to hit it straight, Ryan Fox. I'm not going to give up on Fox.
No, you can't.
Yet. I'll give him a look here. India Open, Bond 22-1. Like they're giving away money on the DP World Tour this week.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go with Juiced if he can get to 30-1. Has really good course history, and then there was one more guy I really liked. It was, I have it right here. I'm not even gonna say Owen Ferguson, 20-1, but I don't. Yeah, bad.
I'm mad that Jesper won because I think I've bet Jesper like 5 times this year, and I didn't even realize he was 70-1 last week. So that was disappointing. Luckily, Sam Bairstow didn't win because I've bet Sam Bairstow every single week. I was legitimately like, this would be the worst thing that's ever happened to me if Sam Bairstow won. That was scary.
We both had so many guys in the mix, and not one of them came close.
No. Freddie, I had 2 of the 3 guys in the final group going into the weekend, and I opened the app up at like 11 p.m. because I always love when the DP starts like early at night so you can see.
Yeah.
They were like 8 holes through, and you can't save players in the DP app anymore. So I was like scrolling. I was like, I must have missed them. Like they're probably a couple over. They were both like 5 over each. Richie Mans and Freddie shots through like 8 holes.
Yeah, I had Mans and then Jordan Smith. I had after he was first round leader. I was like, okay, this is probably. I mean, he might be in the mix for the weekend. Did not even he shot like 76 one of the days. I was like, all right, okay.
The DP is literally just like throwing money away, but it's fun. So,
but then they come over to the PGA Tour and become prolific winners because
Pavone mixed over there in Singapore. He decided it made sense to go to Singapore to prep for his first Masters.
As did Shane Lowry.
So, Jers, appreciate it. Good stuff. We'll be back. We'll be back every week. I'll make a promise to folks. We're not going to sit a week. We'll bring takes even in the darkest of hours. So, Jers, appreciate it. Good luck this week. Talk to you later.
Peace. See you guys.